What's up, everybody? Welcome back. So, you want to be a Wise Guys podcast, and that is more like it. 57-48 final. Wise Guys with a huge road win in Springfield, Missouri over the Ozarks Lunkers. A little payback for last week. I said last week if they wanted to get this payback, that if they wanted it, they had to go take it because it wasn't going to be easy. Well, I mean, it wasn't, but they kind of made it look easy for a while. This was a Wise Guys domination. It's a 9-point final score, final margin, but it really wasn't even that close. Especially the second half. I believe it was 31-24 at half, and it was just total domination in the second half until about the final 3 minutes, and they were up 18 and or maybe 19. I think they were up 19, and Ozarks got a couple of junk time touchdowns, and you know, the one negative of the game wasn't really even anything the Wise Guys did. They had some things they needed to clean up, sure, but for the most part, it was total dominant. Defense was sensational today. I know, Ozark scored 47 points, but like I said, a lot of those were junk time towards the end of the game. They only had 24 at half. They didn't score anything in the third quarter. I don't believe they did it. If they did it, it was in the final minute of the third quarter, but I don't think they scored anything in the third quarter. So fourth quarter they gave up, 3 scores, but by that point it was such a blowout. They kind of let off the gas a little bit. Can't really afford to do that, in any more games this year. But Jordan Ambrose was the man tonight, and Aaron Dilworth had a great game too. But Jordan Ambrose was they couldn't stop him. He had 3 or 4 touchdown rushes, a couple of passes. Was just moving in and out of the pocket, making it nearly impossible to get to him until he, either just completely ran out of time or until he was, 5 yards downfield. They got to do something about this running lane thing and make it a little bit wider because, I know what they're trying to do and help the defense out some, but there's a couple of runs he had where his foot was like on the hash mark, and they called it. It's like, come on, man. The one negative was the officials. They were absolutely horrid tonight. They were just, it was like they were just trying to get themselves on camera, and some of the calls were some of the most ticky-tack, bad calls. Some calls were, maybe technically by layer of the law, but again, just so ticky-tack. It's like, come on, man, let the guys play just a little bit. And mostly one-sided. Now, I'm not saying the Wise Guys didn't commit the penalties, because some of them they did. But some were just awful. One, an amazing touchdown catch in the end zone. I can't remember which receiver it was. The ball kind of popped up in the air, and he caught it on the ground. He was on the ground. His hand was under the ball. Pulled it in for a touchdown. They called it a touchdown on the field. And then reviewed it. I'm like, all right, fine, review it. Because when I saw the replay, I'm like, if you listen to the Goober Ozark announcers, it was like, oh, that's an incomplete pass. I could see just a little tiny bit, just a tiny little bit. They're going to overturn that. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to overturn that. There's no way they're going to overturn that. And they overturned it. It was just atrocious. Some of these calls were atrocious. As great as Ambrose played, he did have one boneheaded throw that kind of started the Ozark comeback a little bit to make the game closer. They were driving. They're about to go up, I think, 4 scores. And, just throw the ball away, take a sack even. It was inside the 10-yard line. He didn't have room to run, so he kind of had to force it, but just throw it out of bounds. And he kind of tossed it up for grabs in the end zone, and Ozark intercepted it, went down and scored, made it a little closer. Still wasn't a game. It was still a blowout, but made it a little bit closer. Just a lot of positives though. They completely shut down the Ozark running game, and when you're up by multiple scores, that helps you out there too. They really couldn't run the ball a whole lot, but even when they tried, they weren't getting hardly anything out of it. Defense was just all over the field tonight. They took last week personally, and they came out tonight to make a statement. Took the opening throw off of the game, went right down the field and scored. It was 7-0 like that. Got the extra point too. So they missed 6 points, 6-0 like that. before you know it's 12-0 Wiseguys, and then it's, you know, or no, I take that back. I believe Ozarks did tie it at 6, and then the Wiseguys scored to go up 12-6, and it was just kind of back and forth a little bit. But by midway through the second quarter, Wiseguys started to separate a little bit. Had a touchdown lead at halftime. In third quarter, it was all Wiseguys. Forced a fumble in the opening throw off and recovered it inside the 5, scored a quick touchdown to go up 2 scores, go up, I believe at the time, 37-24, and just never looked back. 57-48 final, and again, it was way more lopsided than that score would indicate. Aaron Dilworth, once again, the one thing Arena League's got to do better is their stats. Don't have any stats just yet. But I know Ambrose was well over 300 yards of total offense and well over 6 touchdowns. He was involved. They scored, I believe they scored 9 touchdowns. He was involved in every one of them, either running or passing. So, yeah, because they got 1 2-point conversions. So, 9 touchdowns. And he was involved in every single one of them. It was, there was an interception that was ran back for a touchdown. That was the score late in the third quarter. That is what happened. They were driving, and he tried to pitch the ball off, and they got intercepted in the air. It's a great play by the defender. He ran all the way back for a touchdown. So a few little things here and there to clean up, but for the most part, it was a total beatdown. So real quick, we'll go through the standings. All the games are finished. I don't remember the final off the top of my head, but I do know that Duluth beat Iowa in the rematch. They have swept Iowa now, and Eau Claire was destroyed by St. Joe's, won like 66-24 or something like that. It was a beatdown. And then the other game, let's see, what was the other game? Those 3 games, yeah. St. Joe's beat Eau Claire, Hot Springs beat Ozark, and Duluth beat Iowa. So the standings right now: Duluth number 1 at 4-1, Hot Springs and Iowa are 3-2. Next up after that, let's see, Hot Springs and Iowa are 3-2. Ozarks and St. Joe's are 2-3, and Eau Claire's 1-4. Here's the scenario. The Wiseguys control their own destiny to not only get in the playoffs, but to host a first-round game. The top 4 teams make it, top 2 teams host 2 rounds, and the top seed hosts, the highest rated seed after the first round hosts the championship game. The only team to beat Duluth has been Hot Springs, so they own the tiebreaker, but Duluth is the game up because they only have 1 loss now, and Hot Springs has 2, so that's why last week's loss hurt. But Iowa lost. Right now, Iowa owns the tiebreaker. So technically, right now, Duluth and Iowa are the top 2 seeds. Hot Springs is 3, and Ozark is 4, with Eau Claire and St. Joe's, or St. Joe's and Eau Claire at 5 and 6. Ozark's last 3 games are tough. They have to host Duluth. I believe they host Iowa, and then they go to Duluth to end the season. As a Wiseguys fan, we really need Ozark to win one of those games. Right now, Hot Springs controls their own destiny to get in and host a game. If they win their final 3 games, which won't be easy, at St. Joe's, who's good, St. Joe's again at home, and then Iowa at home. If they sweep those games, they are guaranteed to play at home in the first round of the playoffs, which would be huge to have a game at Mako ZK Arena. Now here's where it gets more fun. If Ozarks beats Duluth, or Eau Claire beats Duluth, but I don't see that happening. Eau Claire's just not very good. But if Ozarks beats Duluth just once and Hot Springs wins out, the Wiseguys would have the number 1 seed. They would host both rounds of the playoffs, including Arena Mania, is what they call their championship game. That would be humongous. That would be awesome. So next weekend, 4th of July weekend, there's only 1 game in the league. It is Duluth at Ozarks. Now, Ozarks just lost to us. They're going to be desperate Right now they're in the playoffs, but they're right on the fringe, tied with St. Joe's. They need to win in the worst way, and they're hosting Duluth. Duluth could go in there and run them off the field. But if Ozarks pulls the upset, so next week we all need to be Ozark Lunkers fans. Because if Ozark pulls the upset, when Hot Springs comes off the bye, they control the entire league. They control their own destiny. They don't need anybody else's help. They just need to win out, and they will host both rounds of the playoffs. That's crazy to think, but it's true, because they play Iowa last game of the year. And right now they're tied with Iowa, which is why I said right now they control their own destiny for a first round home game. So does Iowa. The winner of that last game could very well end up being the host of that first round, and it may even be a rematch with each other. But one Duluth slip up in these last 3 games, and Hot Springs wins them all. Which again, won't be easy, but with this defense, they got a shot to do that. If that happens, the Wiseguys are hosting both rounds. That's a lot of exciting things to look forward to. So next week, 4th of July is on Friday. Everybody have a great 4th of July. On Saturday night, get in front of your TV, your big screens, your laptops, whatever you can. Go to the Arena League page on YouTube and watch Duluth and Ozarks and be big-time Lunkers fans for one night. Because if the Lunkers can pull off an upset, it'll be there. It won't be late, last game of the year in Duluth. It will be right there. If that happens, if Ozarks pulls the upset, man, would that be some exciting football for Hot Springs. They got a tough one at St. Joe's, and they host St. Joe's, and then they host Iowa in a rematch. There's a lot of exciting things happening. This win tonight opens up so many possibilities. Now, if we had won last week, we'd already control our own destiny at this point because of Iowa's second loss. But, you know, it is what it is. But you're still in great position to, at the very least, host a game with the possibility of hosting both if Duluth slips up. And even if they don't, you've already went to Duluth and beat them once. So you know you can. It's in your head. You know you can beat them. You beat them in Minnesota once. So, but man, exciting things going on in Hot Springs. The Wiseguys with a huge win tonight on the road, getting some payback for last week. Those other players last week, I said, you know, some were pretty nice, but there's a lot of cockiness, a lot of confidence, and I think they came into this game tonight thinking we beat them once, we got this. And Hot Springs said, not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. It was great. It was a lot of fun to watch. Hard hitting, the defense was everywhere, and Ozarks could just get nothing going. Hopefully next week they get something going. They could win the rest of their games for all I care at this point. But right now, it's all about the Wiseguys, baby. The Wiseguys are in control of their own destiny. Thank you guys for watching. Go Wiseguys. Who runs this town, baby? See you guys in 2 weeks. We'll maybe do a show next week as well, but 2 weeks when they host or go to St. Joe's. Have a great one.